Hi, I am Shannon, and I will be your host for today's topic about burning questions in the Singapore property market. If you're watching this video, I want to wish you Happy New Year! We have just ended 2020, and what a year it has been. It was supposed to be a year filled with major events, such as the Singapore general elections, the US presidential elections, Tokyo Olympics, and Euro 2020 football tournament. However, as we look back, 2020 is more likely to be associated with phrases such as COVID-19 pandemic, circuit breaker, and reopening phase 1, 2, and 3. Most industries, businesses, and families were affected negatively in 2020. But the property market seemed to buck the trend. Early predictions about falling property prices were unfounded. In fact, during the second half of 2020, the property market seemed to perform above expectations. As we enter into the new year, I have received many questions from property investors trying to make sense of the property market right now. So it is my pleasure to have Colin Ee with us today to share his insights. Colin is the founder of PSF Real Estate Academy. Since 2014, over 1,000 home buyers and property investors have attended his property investment education programs conducted by Colin. Besides training, Colin also does extensive study and research into the Singapore property market. He is also a licensed property agent. Hi Colin, Happy New Year and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks Shannon. Happy New Year to you too, and may 2021 be a better year for everyone.
Now, back to today's topic. 2020 was Singapore's worst recession in 55 years, with the economy expected to shrink about 6%, according to the Ministry of Trade and Industry. But when we look at the URA Private Residential Price Index, it actually rose 0.3% quarter-on-quarter in second quarter and 0.8% quarter-on-quarter in third quarter 2020. So not only did the private property market do well, even the HDB resale prices also increased by 1.5% in third quarter 2020, which is the highest in nearly 8 years. So it seems like the economy is going down, but the property market is going up. It makes no sense. Colin, can you please share your thoughts?
Okay, Shannon, I think you're absolutely right. We see a divergence between where we think the economy is heading and property prices. By right, the property market should be affected too. I think there are 4 reasons given to explain the dichotomy between the recessionary pressure and inflationary property price. Number 1, low interest rate and low borrowing costs. Number 2, pent-up demand due to the circuit breaker. Number 3 is the foreign investors who view Singapore as a safe haven. And the last reason is the reissuing of the option to purchase OTP by developers, which inflated the actual sales number. But I do not think these 4 commonly cited reasons substantially explain the rise in property price post-circuit breaker.
Why do you say that?
Firstly, interest rate has been low for a long time and it has been hovering around 2% since 8 years ago. So certainly this is not a new factor to explain the rise in property prices. Second reason, pent-up demand arising from the circuit breaker. Yes, we do see momentum coming back after the circuit breaker. That probably explains the rising sales volume for third quarter 2020. However, do not forget, this was also the period where we see a lot more negative news coming from job losses, retrenchments, and deeper economic woes that should taper the demand for properties. Ultimately, property is a big ticket item, and if income or livelihood are at risk, I think surely the purchase can be deferred. So for the third reason, foreign buyers. They only accounted for less than 5% of the total monthly home sales, new home sales. And fourth reason, the reissuance of the OTP. I think this still remains a small minority and unlikely to largely inflate the numbers. Anyway, URA has already clamped down on reissuing of OTP since October last year.
I see. So, if you do not think that these 4 reasons contributed significantly to the property market going up, then what other reasons could there be?
Well, I'm actually looking for something new that only occurred in the last few months to explain this trend. Right? I think it has to do with technology and adaptation. Now, without a doubt, the pandemic has fundamentally and perhaps permanently changed some of our habits and behavior. For over a decade, our government has been trying very hard to push for greater decentralization of the CBD and an emphasis on work-life balance. Progress was slow, and not many companies or workers believed that it was possible to work from home on a long-term basis or go online, do virtual meetings, but just look at what happened.
Yep.
When the circuit breaker was announced, everyone had to adjust and adjust fast. Suddenly, everything was possible, working from home, virtual meetings using Zoom, even ordering food to have it delivered to your house.
I love that too.
Yeah, correct, precisely. Right, we like this convenience. So you see, the speed of adapting to technology was amazing, right? Before the circuit breaker for properties, right, almost all viewings were conducted physically, and all consumer seminars were conducted face-to-face, usually in a show flat, right? But now you look at what's happening, right? Okay, buyers have adapted to virtual viewings or listening to consumer webinars via Zoom. Property agencies have been aggressively pumping out content and educational information through webinars. With more online seminars to engage a greater number of consumers, it is now easier to reach more people faster and more efficiently than ever. Space, as in physical seating capacity, is no longer a constraint, and time is also not a constraint, as the audience can choose to watch the recorded version at their own time. Certainly, this means more business.
Yes! Almost everyone I know has gotten used to Zooming these days. In fact, I also conduct some of my hosting lessons on Zoom too.
Yeah, you see, there you have it, right? So all these consumer seminars are always laden with sales messages. Property agencies will always make use of the opportunity to promote properties. So if property agents are always saying, now is a good time to buy, last remaining plot of land, prices are increasing soon, every new project is a good buy. So what do you think the audience will think and do?
Buy. Yeah, they will have to take action now.
Yes. And to be honest, some of the new projects launched in second half of 2020 were priced very reasonably to attract buyers. That also motivated the buyers and investors to take action.
So initially there was some concern about the property market, right? But as we progressed into the second half of 2020, people actually got used to COVID-19 as part of our lives. More people became adjusted to online sales presentations, viewings, and as we continued to see the resilience in property prices, confidence returned.
Yeah,
so furthermore, motivated by the sales message from property agents like buy now, right? Buyers started to shop for properties.
Yeah, I think you have summarized my thoughts pretty nicely. Singaporeans love properties. You and me know that, right? Okay. Many Singaporeans still have deep pockets and savings to buy that property despite COVID-19.
Really?
And I think so. That's what I feel. As a property agent, right? Okay, I see these people taking action, right? We have not seen mass retrenchments. In fact, some sectors are even doing better than because of the pandemic. And there are also those genuine upgraders who have a property to cash in and want to transfer the sales proceeds from one property to another property. So this is why I feel on one hand the economy as a whole may be deteriorating, right? Okay, but on the other hand, the property market has remained resilient.
Interesting. So that's for 2020, the year of the pandemic, right?
That's right.
Actually, I would also like to ask you about what you think for this year in terms of the property market. Are some properties to look out for, and where do you think prices will go?
Yeah, I expect you to ask that. I'm waiting for that actually.
But let's hold our horses. You have shared a lot of interesting insights for 2020 already. So I think let's save the topic on 2021 property market for our next episode. How about that?
Yeah, certainly. I think we can save the 2021 property market outlook for the next issue, and we can have more time to talk about it.
That sounds like a great idea. Thank you so much for sharing today, Colin.
Thanks for having me here, Shannon.
So we have just heard from Colin Ee, who is the founder of PSF Real Estate Academy and a licensed property agent, sharing his views on why the 2020 Singapore property prices have defied the pandemic and economic recessionary pressures to move higher. So is the property market going to surge even higher in 2021? Join me in my next episode to find out more.